Hey, Bree, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to start off and kick this demo off by introducing myself. So I am Brianna Callahan. I am the head of sales enablement here at MeetingPlay Eventry. And we're really excited to show you the ExpoPRO product today. So I'm also going to let Morgan quickly introduce herself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Morgan Leary. I'm the training manager over at MeetingPlay and Eventry. I focus on making sure that our team and our clients are set up for success with all of the great knowledge and all of our new products. And today we have a great one to discuss. So very excited.
Awesome. Well, I'm just going to let everyone know kind of what the framework of today is. So we're going to walk you through the ExpoPRO product, and Morgan is going to give you a technical demo so that you understand all of the ins and outs of how to use the product. And we're going to take periodic breaks as we're going through and kind of talk about the highlights, the features and benefits of each of the different things that we're talking about. Please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A as we go through. We're happy to answer those questions as we stop. We're also going to be answering those questions via text. So just to kick off our ExpoPRO demo, I just want to highlight that it really is here to boost your productivity, and it's a fully integrated exhibitor management software. So it's really meant to highlight and prepare your exhibitors or vendors for success and set you as the admin or the client in this particular software as kind of the controller. You're able to manage tasks, you're able to manage activity, you can follow up on missed tasks or anything that's outstanding. And so it's just going to keep your event moving at all times. So Morgan, I'm going to let you take over and then we'll catch up in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like you said, it's really a great way for the exhibitors to be able to see all the needed tasks in a very simple and easy checklist. So when you first get access to the ExpoPRO here, you can see that I'm already on the login page. There's two different ways that you're able to log in. Upon your first login, you'll actually use the magic link here, which will email you a one-time link, and then that'll allow you to receive a code to be able to reset your password and then log into the ExpoPRO. So I will go ahead and do this for us. There are three different types of users within the ExpoPRO that we'll be covering today: the admin, primary contact, and then a general user. So the admin is what I'm going to be focusing on for the first part of our demo here. That's what I'm showing right now. The admin is going to be your MeetingPlay Eventry support team, as well as the client or the event planner main point of contact. This is going to be that user type that's really setting up the different companies, the tasks within the ExpoPRO. Next, we have the primary contact, who that will be the direct contact for the exhibiting company. And then the user, who's going to be that just the general representative for the exhibiting company. Both the primary contact and the user both have different permissions. So we're going to go through those different user types as well. So within the admin view here, the first step once you get into the ExpoPRO is kind of building that framework and getting everything set up. So under event info on the tab here on the left-hand side, you're able to add in the event name, start, date, time, end time. You're able to add in a logo or a favicon. You're also able to add in some of that basic event information. So this could be some sort of a welcome information or anything that you really want your exhibitors to see right away when they get into the ExpoPRO. The next options we have are two different types of resource libraries. So we have an external resource library, which is what we're using for this example here, which is just going to be an external link of maybe the client's website or wherever information they hold information for the exhibitors. The other option is going to be an internal library. So again, another great place to be able to add in additional information for those exhibitors, as well as able to add in some different assets. So anything that you want your exhibitors to kind of have on hand when they're going through the ExpoPRO. And then lastly, at the bottom here, this is where we can add in that tech support information. So an internal email address to the client or whatever the case is here, a really great opportunity to be able to have that support for your exhibitors as they're completing the tasks within the ExpoPRO. So once you have in that basic event information, you're going to want to start going ahead and building out the company tiers and companies. So under our add button here, we can select company tier. This is a great area where we're able to add in different segments for the companies. So you can add a tier such as bronze, gold, silver, a great way to kind of organize those different exhibitors. Also able to add in limits on how many contacts, links, or files that the tier should get. So we have some examples of that here. So you can see that we have a couple different tiers. Again, great way to kind of be able to organize and limit the companies in a different way. Once you have the tiers, you can go ahead and add in those companies. So again, under our add button, you can go into select company. That's when you're able to add in that company marketing name, legal name. You can even add in contract status, which is just a great add. And then of course, associating to that appropriate tier. So this right here, Bree, this is really the bulk of kind of getting the framework setting up and making sure that you kind of are adding in those companies, the tiers, and just the general event information before you start adding in those tasks.
No, and this is perfect. Actually, I think that there's been surveys done that the event planner job description or the event planner job is actually one of the most stressful in the world. And I think that this starting part really showcases the building out the framework and customizing it to your event is so easy, very simplistic. I think you did it in maybe 4 steps. And then setting up those tiers and companies, this allows event planners to have a lot of time before they start giving access to this to say, you know, I want these tiers to have access to this. They'll be doing this. And so you can build out your whole event and all of the different permissions. And so you can really micromanage the access that the different users coming in are going to see and have access to. I think this also sets people up for success. So as people are selling sponsorships, potentially, you can move people in and out of tiers. They want to level up, they'll have more access. And so that allows you to not have to custom create everything every single time. You can just reassociate that tier to that company, and then they can move forward with all the tasks that are associated to them.
Yeah, exactly. And great call out regarding, being able to limit based on the tiers. We'll actually kind of get into that when I show the tasks here in a second. So really the bulk of this platform is task management, right? So it's a great opportunity for the client and the event planner to be able to organize and delegate different tasks to the exhibitors. So again, on our left-hand side, going to tasks here, you can see I already have a ton of different tasks, but I'll show you how to kind of go ahead and create some. So one thing to call out, which is just an awesome feature, is the ability to add in different task categories. So I'm able to go up here and select task category, and you could name this anything from marketing, registration. Maybe you want to kind of segment it by specific event information. That's a great tool to be able to kind of organize the tasks in general. So once you add in those task categories, you are then able to go ahead and add in some of those specific tasks. We have 3 different types of tasks that we offer here: standard, file collection, and poll. So the standard is what I'm showing right here. And this is just going to be that basic, event information. You do have the ability to add in a file. So maybe you need to make sure that all of the exhibitors have access to some sort of document. That would be a great example of the ability to use the standard type of task. The next one would be file collection here. So if you're needing to collect, logos, a signed contract, or whatever the case is from your exhibitors, you could select file collection, and then they would be able to upload the actual file and you would have access to it. And then lastly, we have the poll type here. So poll is a great way to be able to get any sort of response from your exhibitors. So we have checkbox, we have multiple choice, open-ended. So 3 great options to be able to get that information. This could be if you're needing to gather t-shirt size, or if you want to ensure that your exhibitors have read and accepted, the event terms and conditions. This would be that type of task that you'd want to select. So once you kind of figure out what type of task you're wanting to go ahead and create, you can add in that task name, the due date, and then of course, select that task category. Once you add in all the information, that's when you're going to want to go ahead and assign it to the specific exhibitor. So by default, all of the tasks will automatically be sent to all of the exhibitor companies. So all of those companies that we just added, if I want to make sure that they get this task and it's on their list to complete, you can go ahead and keep this as is. If I want to limit it a little bit more, you have the ability to be able to select the specific task to go to certain tiers. So if I have a specific task for the platinum tier, and they're the only ones that need to complete this task, I'm able to go ahead and create the task and assign it just to that tier. And the great thing about this is we can even go one step further and, specify it to go to a specific company. So if I have a task that I need to send over to MeetingPlay and Eventry, I can create that task and assign it to them here. So this right here, Bree, is really, the greatest part about this platform, where you're able to kind of go ahead and add in all the different information to the exhibitors. You're able to add due dates, which is huge. They do get notifications once they get a task that's assigned to them. I'll kind of show you what that looks like in a little bit as well. But this is, of course, the bulk of that platform, being able to create all the different tasks.
Yep. And I think this brings us back to the ease of use, right? So having someone be able to send out a task to everyone. For example, maybe this is for a trade show and they all need to have their booth, furniture, and carpet orders in by a certain time. That can be associated to everyone since it applies to all tiers. Now, maybe premium tiers need to turn in certain videos for commercial ads. And so then you can apply it to only that tier and make sure that those things are getting in on time. I mean, as an event planner in past lives, and I know all the event planners out there, how many times have we had people not turn in things on time, and you kind of become an email person that just sends out emails constantly, and you're trying to track people down and hold people accountable for getting their things in on time. Just being able to send out these tasks, and we'll get to the fact that they get notifications on those tasks shortly, really holds everyone accountable and keeps them also on track. They know these tasks when they first get in for the first time. And so they're able to track their own resources and the things they need. Things come up, and we understand that. But using this dashboard and using this task management software, it's really easy to keep everything streamlined for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we're still in the admin point of view here. So that's going to be that client contact or that event planner that's really building out the ExpoPRO and making sure that they have all the companies in there, all of the needed tasks. Another thing I do want to call out is that all of these are still editable. Once you complete them, you can go ahead and update the task if needed, continuously keep adding those tasks and sending them over to your exhibitors. Because like you said, things pop up, things happen. So you want to make sure that you're getting all that information over to the exhibitors, which is a great feature of this platform.
Morgan, we had a great question. Who manages the approval process when it comes to all of these tasks?
Yeah, great question. So it would be the admin. So they're the ones that are actually creating the task and sending them over to the exhibitors. So the admin, again, would be the event planner or the client main point of contact. So they're able to work with their internal teams, figure out what information they're needing from the exhibitors, and then, of course, add those in as tasks and send those over to the exhibitors.
Awesome.
So once we're in a good spot with all the tasks, the next step when setting up the ExpoPRO here would be to create users. So again, for demo purposes, we already have some awesome users in here, but if I want to add additional ones, I can go up here and select user. From here, you're able to add in their first name, last name, email address, and then of course, you're going to want to associate them to that appropriate company. Once you add in all of their information, the next step is going to be inviting them actually into the ExpoPRO. So here under communication, you can see I've already sent out an invitation email because we have some great exhibitors already in the ExpoPRO working hard. But if I want to go ahead and send out another email, I can do that by selecting email. And here we already have some pre-sorted email templates to invite those primary contacts into the ExpoPRO. So something to call out here is that typically the admin is going to be inviting those primary contacts into the ExpoPRO. Once the primary contacts are in the ExpoPRO, they will then be able to invite other users into the ExpoPRO to be able to help them with other tasks, which I'll show you what that looks like in a second as well. So you're able to edit the template if needed. You can add in, email name or whatever the case is here. Once you're in a good spot with the email, you can go ahead and review it, see what it looks like. You can also send yourself a test email to make sure everything is pulling in properly. And then, of course, deciding who needs to get this email. So in our case, I just added somebody to the MeetingPlay and Eventry company here. So I would be able to unselect all other companies and just send this invitation email to the primary contact that I added for MeetingPlay Eventry. Once I send the email, they would then get very similar login information of what we went over beginning, kind of guiding them to use that magic link, reset their password, and then they have access to the ExpoPRO where they're able to go ahead and see all of those tasks that we just created. So once we're in a good spot with this, like I said, we can go ahead and save and send. And, kind of going back to the communication there, we were just talking about, Bree, this is a great way to be able to, instantly be able to send the invitation to those primary contacts and the users that invites them into the ExpoPRO just from one spot. So you're not having to use Outlook or anything like that. You're able to go ahead and send them the information that they need to log in from the ExpoPRO.
Absolutely. I think that that's so important that we're kind of using one platform to manage not only all of the users, but all of their access as well.
Mm-hmm. And another great thing here is it looks like I have a couple notifications. So this is another great way for the event planner to kind of be able to take a look at what the status is of all those tasks. So you're able to see if anything has been created, changed to complete, to open, whatever the case is, just from one click here. And then lastly, sorry, go ahead.
No, this is awesome. Thanks, Morgan.
Yeah. Lastly, from the admin view here, another great resource is the reports. So we have 4 different types of reports that we have in the ExpoPRO, which is really just pulling data from this specific ExpoPRO. So these include reports on the companies, contact information, and just an overall task report, which is, again, a great way to be able to kind of pull those reports, see what the status of the tasks are, and then, of course, be able to reach out to the other exhibitors if you want to kind of get a status of what the deal is on some of those tasks. It's just a great place to be able to get all that information in one spot.
And so on those reports that you have here, Morgan, what would you highlight as probably the most important to event planners and then ultimately to those who are utilizing the platform as the event planners' clients?
Yeah, of course. Great question. I would say the roll-up task report, which I can go ahead and see here, is a really great overview, from that event planner to be able to click in and see, okay, so MeetingPlay Eventuary has 26 tasks total, and they've only completed 3. So you're able to go ahead and get in there and see what the issue is with all of them, and just make sure that they, do they have any questions on the tasks? What's the status of them? Just that kind of thing. So a really great opportunity just to see kind of like the general overview of all of those tasks.
That's awesome.
And before we kind of get into what that primary contact view looks like, because that, really is probably the most of the users that will get in here. They're going to be those primary contacts that are managing their own exhibiting teams. Just a quick overview of, what the possibilities of everything that we just spoke about here. So as an admin, you're able to create a really curated task list specific to those exhibitors. You can even go a step higher and, make sure those tasks are specific to specific tiers, and then also to general companies. So again, that is the biggest thing here, where we've, received a lot of different questions from, hey, I have certain tasks that I only need, these 3 exhibitors to complete. Can we do that with ExpoPRO? Absolutely. You're able to send those tasks specifically to those companies, or you can send a general task to everyone.
We also have a question about the tiers. I think you already covered this, but you can duplicate the tasks as you send them out. So if you wanted to send them to multiple people, you don't have to go in and individually send out those tasks.
Yep, absolutely. So if I go back and create a task, when I go to assign, if I want everybody to go ahead and have this task, I can keep as is. But if I want to go a step further and select specific tasks to have or specific tiers to have these tasks, I can go ahead and do that. So if it's platinum and gold, I can go ahead and click on these, and then that task would end up in their bucket.
I'm actually glad that we're going back over this, though, because I think that a really great point about this specifically is it showcases how this really can help large scale events. Mm-hmm. You could have multiple tiers that have a lot of different tasks, and you're able to kind of apply main tasks to the organization as a whole, but then you can also make sure that those tasks are segmented based on certain tiers as well. And you're not in there. If you have 250 exhibitors, maybe you have 300 exhibitors, you're not individually assigning a single task one time each time. So you can go through and say, okay, everyone needs to do this. Only this group needs to do that. And then everybody on the top premium tier is going to do this. And so it really creates just a streamlined experience for you as the admin, but also that there's no one that you missed. You don't have to go back and cross-check. You know that you kind of applied it to that pool, and now you're good to go and move on to the next thing because we know you're busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's jump to talk about that primary contact.
Sure, absolutely. So again, as an admin, there's this awesome feature that we have where you have the ability to simulate what that primary contacts view is going to look like. So if I go to companies and I select this little lock button here, go ahead and click on it, and it changes my view completely, right? So this is what that primary contact's going to see. They have a really awesome task breakdown where they're able to see the status of all those different tasks. Here is all those different task categories that we created. So they can see, okay, under marketing and awareness, I have 8 tasks I need to focus on here. And of course, you're able to see any upcoming tasks, anything that's overdue, and then of course, view all of those tasks. Before we get into the tasks, I want to show you a couple different features that they have that we didn't see on the primary side. Or the admin side, excuse me. So obviously we have the dashboard here. And then of course we have that resource library that we were referring to. Remember when we set that up, we selected external link. So if I click on this, it's going to take us to our lovely MeetingPlay Eventry website here, which maybe holds specific information for our exhibitors. So again, this could be any sort of external link that's maybe housing information for those exhibitors, or we did have that option to have kind of an internal page within the ExpoPRO that maybe just is housing certain downloads or whatever the case is there. When I click in the tasks here, you can see that it also looks a little bit different from our admin view. Since the admin view is more creating those tasks and the primary contact is completing them, you can see it's more of a list format where they have the ability to sort it by category, status, task name, and even due date, which is probably the most important one to be able to sort by here. So when I click into one of these tasks here, you can see that I have that information that the admin added into those tasks. From a primary contact, I'm able to even go a step further and assign the task to somebody that might be a little bit more familiar and able to help me complete this task. So it's currently assigned to Reagan Williams, but if I want to go ahead and assign this to Jenna Malley, maybe she's a little bit, more specified on the custom digital ad here, and if she's our, design girl, I can go ahead and delegate this task over to her, and she's able to complete it on her end. Another great feature to the task is, once you're done and it's good to go and everything is all set, you're able to go ahead and complete it. So once you complete the task, this brings us back to those notifications. The admin would receive a notification, as does the primary contact and whoever completed the task. So basically just one step further on being like, all right, this task is done, we're in a good spot. So what do you think so far about the task? Any questions from our friends? They want to know more information on, the great features that we have here?
Yeah, so one of the questions that did come through was multiple admins, which is actually probably a broader question. Sure. On how many admins can be available in the software, how many primary contacts, what's kind of our recommendation on that. I know typically we don't want to get too heavy with certain tiers just because that becomes a lot of hands in the pot and you kind of want a centralized communication stream.
Yeah, great question. So when it comes to admins, I think that's more of like a conversation that you would have with your MeetingPlay Eventry sales team to kind of see, what are they needing? What individuals are needing to be within the admin itself? Primary contacts, we do try to keep it kind of more to like the 1 to 2 limit there. That way they can just really focus on the task at hand. Of course, they're able to up that if needed, and really also invite other users into the platform, like I just said, where if I'm needing additional people to kind of help me out here and add, I'm able to assign them to specific tasks and bring them into the platform.
It sounds to me like in this situation, there's probably somebody who's set up as kind of a team lead in a lot of situations, somebody who is maybe the ringleader of everything going on. So that doesn't mean that they aren't communicating with other users on their team, especially if they're clients within the platform of the admin user or the person who is contracting to manage ExpoPRO. But that person is kind of relaying all the information, making sure that the tasks are assigned appropriately and kind of just acting as the point person.
Yeah, exactly. And as that primary contact, like I said, if I'm needing more hands and need some more assistance completing these tasks, I can go ahead and add in some of those users. So very similar to how we had it with The admin view, I'm able to see all the users that are currently in, but I'm also able to add more. So under user, I could add in that same information that we were going through. So the first name, last name, email address, and then of course, selecting their role to be ExpoPRO user. Once you add in their information, that's when you're able to send over that invitation email. So very similar, able to go ahead and select the template that we already have in here to invite additional contacts. And you can go through that same flow by inviting them into ExpoPRO. They would then receive, login credentials and be able to get into the ExpoPRO and assist with those tasks. So of course, able to view that email here. And then once you're in a good spot, you're able to select, what individual needs to be invited into the ExpoPRO. So in this case, maybe I just added Jenna and I want her to go ahead and get invited here. I could send this email just out to her. Mm-hmm. Another great feature we have, so again, we're still looking at that primary contact user. If I'm looking at my team and kind of want to get a status update of what they're completing on their end, I can go to users, select the user, and see how many tasks are still open in their name, how many complete and how many are late. You have their ability to email them and kind of reach out to them and say, like, hey, do you need help with any of these tasks? But just a great tool from the primary contact or that team lead, like you were kind of referring to be able to make sure that their team is still on track. And then lastly, again, still as that primary contact, I do have some reports. So this one would really be that contact task report. So if I click into this report here, I'm able to see everybody from the other exhibitors that I could reach out to if needed. So again, as that primary contact, I think the best thing here is being able to kind of get a general task breakdown of everything that's in their name, and being able to just take a look at it and make sure that the appropriate people are assisting with those tasks.
Absolutely. I think as that team leader, that primary contact, this dashboard is going to offer them a lot of tools to be successful and make sure their experience at the event that they're attending is going to be successful. Knowing the trade shows that I've been part of, have helped plan, a dashboard like this would have been a game changer in terms of staying aligned with what I need to get done, what other people on my team need to get done, instead of me just trying to track all of that via email and probably some Excel spreadsheet that I have somewhere. So this is awesome. It's very organized. It's very easy to follow. Obviously, I even love the little visual that we have there, kind of showing us what's outstanding, what's getting done, what is finished. And so I could log into this every morning and say, okay, this is where my team is at. Let me follow up with them. And I can follow up directly from the platform as well.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Well, before I hop over to kind of that general user's view, is there any questions regarding the primary contact or anything like that?
Not about the primary contact, but I definitely encourage people to continue to put questions in. And after we cover the individual users, we'll cover that a little bit more. And then we'll also go into a full Q&A where we'll cover everybody's questions.
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, perfect. So moving on here to that general user. This is very similar to what that primary contact view is. However, they don't have the lovely dashboard, but what they do have is the ability to see the specific tasks that are in their name. So here I'm logged in as Reagan Williams. I still have the ability to reference those resources that we talked about briefly. I'm able to see all of that general event information that the admin added in. I'm also able to reach out to that primary contact if needed. So if I need to reach out to my team lead, I'm able to email them directly from the ExpoPRO. When I click into view tasks, I'm able to see all of the tasks that are still in my name, anything that is overdue. And then another great feature is the ability to add any sort of internal comments. So as a user, if I add in an internal comment, my primary contact would also be able to see this. So if I have a question on something or I'm waiting on something to kind of give them a status update, that's a great tool to be able to add in that information there. And then for communication, very simple for the user side. They just have the notifications where they're able to kind of see the status if something was assigned to them, if something was marked complete or whatever the information is there. So again, just very simple view, very user-friendly, really very, straightforward, where the user is able to log into the ExpoPRO, see what tasks they need to complete, and complete them in a timely manner. So again, like we've kind of continuously keep saying, it takes that one step out of going back and forth via email, or working off a Excel document or a Google Drive or something like that, and really having all the tasks that need to be complete in one spot.
And this is awesome. I think, again, coming from people who I know are in the audience who have been people who work at trade shows or been a part of that team, having a central location where you can log in, see what's expected of you, follow up about that. If you're running into any types of questions, if you're running into any types of issues, you know how to contact people, where to get in touch with them, and who the chain of command is. You have to reach out to your primary contact because something's going on. Because we have been through a lot today, do you mind quickly running through the view of the admin, who, we'll just quickly define as kind of the event owner, the event planner, the person who's kind of at the top of our decision-making pyramid here, the primary contact, who is kind of our team lead for all of those individual vendors or exhibitors, and then the users one more time quickly, so we can kind of get that side-by-side sort of view of all of the different things that we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm showing right now, this is going to be that admin view. So really the main differences is being able to add in that event information and being able to add in the companies, and then of course the tasks. The task is going to be the biggest thing with the admin. They're the ones that are holding the keys to be able to get in all that information over to the exhibitors. Mm-hmm. Of course, inviting in those primary contacts, like we kind of went through, that just that general communication. But again, always bringing it back to the bulk of the platform being a task management platform. For the primary contact, very similar, but theirs is more specific just to their company. So they're able to see only the tasks that are assigned to their company as a whole. They can't see any other tasks. And of course, they're able to see that task breakdown, assign it to other individuals in their team. Again, kind of as that team lead role, they're able to kind of be able to delegate it to specific people. They can close off those tasks if they are complete. Maybe they're having an internal meeting and they're kind of going over all the different tasks that are kind of in their buckets. They can kind of get through here and assign it to specific people and complete them once done. And then, of course, that user view here, which is very similar to the primary contact, but very specific to just the tasks assigned to this specific user. So they're able to go ahead and click into all the different tasks that are assigned to their name and complete those and close those off once done.
This is perfect. So are you ready to take on some questions, Morgan?
Let's do it.
All right. So I've got a couple good ones for you. So one, we can answer together. So Lauren asked about use cases for this product, and I think that it has a variety of use cases. One, for example, that we've kind of been touching on is like major trade shows, whether that's in person or virtual. This kind of sets you up to set the expectations of your virtual or in-person exhibitors of what they need to be turning in. If it's online, is it digital assets? Is it downloads? Is it video commercials, interstitial ads? All of the things that need to be uploaded into the platform based on what their sponsorship level is. If it's a trade show, who are the reps that are coming? Are they registered? Have you ordered your furniture and carpet for your booth individually? Have you picked out your booth space? And so you can set all of these expectations dependent on what you're looking at. It can be used for other event types as well. Anytime that you're working with different departments or different teams where they basically need to have a task list and somebody needs to be managing that task list, and hopefully it's not being done in an Excel grid and SharePoint. This way you can really hold people accountable for what they're in charge of and if they're getting it done on time. Morgan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the beauty of this is it doesn't have to be an in-person event. It really can be used in so many different areas. It can be for that virtual event, for that in-person event, or a hybrid event. That's the beauty of it, is really being able to curate those specific tasks to the needs for the event from the event planner, where they're able to, really kind of get creative and make sure that they're sending out that information to the exhibitors. But again, it's just one spot where they're able to keep everybody organized and on one page.
Perfect. Can task category titles be custom created by the admin during setup?
Yes. So right here under task category, that's where I'm able to go ahead and add in the specific task category name. In this, for demo purposes, you can see that we already have some in here, but maybe these, don't apply to your event. So you can 100% go ahead and update these to make sure that they do apply to your event. Again, just taking it one step further to be able to organize those tasks in a different way.
Perfect. Next, so I think we covered this a little bit, but just to recover, is the admin responsible for assigning and delegating all of the tasks throughout the duration of kind of the planning period here? Or is the primary contact actually also able to take on some task management?
Yeah, great question. So both, which is awesome, right? Because as an event planner, you really don't need absolutely everything on your plate. You already have too much. So it's great to kind of be able to delegate that a little bit. So, like we went through, when you're creating those tasks, you have the ability to assign it to those specific companies or the tiers. But once it's already assigned as a primary user or primary contact, which I'll show you, they're able to go ahead and delegate it one step further to those specific users in their company. So if I have a task that's in my bucket as a primary contact and I want to go ahead and send it to somebody else, I can add them as a user to the ExpoPRO, and then I can go ahead, find that task, and assign it to that appropriate person. So again, taking it one step further to go ahead and delegate it to the appropriate individual.
No, that's perfect. That's awesome. And it's definitely something that's going to help as things change or other things come up, or there becomes a unique situation where the primary contact knows that something needs to get done that's outside of the realm of the admin, and they can apply that to their team.
Exactly.
So the next question is what kind of support does our team at MeetingPlay Eventry offer kind of in tandem with this software?
Yeah, great question. So when you're setting up the ExpoPRO here as that admin, you are able to add in a direct information. This can be an internal information or internal email from the actual company, which I think is a great feature. When it comes to MeetingPlay Eventry support, that's something that I would definitely recommend to talk to your sales representative with, but it's definitely something that we could incorporate in, as we are always wanting to make sure that those exhibitors do have support when they're going through the ExpoPRO. Just makes it a smooth ride for everybody and that everything gets accomplished.
Awesome. So next is, I just lost my question. 1 second. So let's talk about notifications really quickly, and communication is something we touched on a couple different times. When something is complete or somebody leaves a comment, how is the primary contact or the admin notified?
Yes. So they do receive a notification that lives here, and they also receive an email notification. So just a very blanket email that basically says the status of this task is now complete, or you were assigned this task. If you are that user, maybe the primary contact assigned a task to me, I would then receive an email notification as well. But of course, those notifications also live in this page right here.
Awesome. Great. So then our next question is, how are we monetizing this software? And I think that that's kind of an open-ended question, because I think that there are a lot of opportunities based on who's using this product, who are the primary contacts, who are the end users that are being added in here. And so I would probably direct that question to our sales team, who we can connect everyone with at the end of this event, because there's a lot of variety in how we offer this to people and how we basically monetize its value, not only to the client, but also to everyone who's hopping into it.
Yeah, totally agree. And again, I think that's the beauty of it, is you're able to kind of get creative in a sense. You're able to, add in exhibitors, but maybe they don't have to be exhibitors. Maybe you can use this in kind of like a different format. So great question.
So our final question, I'm going to throw a quick curveball at you. Is there floor plan management that can be integrated into ExpoPRO for space selection or registration? And I think I know the answer, but I'm going to let you go first.
My answer would be, at this moment, no, but we have a beautiful roadblock that we're having here, roadmap, with a lot of different new features. So I think that, I don't think this is the very last ExpoPRO demo. I'm sure there'll be a lot more in the future where we're able to show all of our new features and different things down the roadmap.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I didn't want, at this time, it's not something that we're capable of showing in our current environment. But that being said, MeetingPlay Eventry is a premier event service provider. And so we're constantly creating custom solutions, and really thinking outside of the box when it comes to making our clients' experiences better for the events that they have coming up or the events that they're working on. So even though it's not something that we could show you today or have an answer for you today, if there's a need for it, we want to talk to you. If you have an idea, we want to better understand it. So again, another one that I'm going to direct to our amazing sales team and customer success management team, because they're going to be able to work with you to create exactly what you need. I think that actually brings us to the end. We've answered all the questions that we have in the live Q&A so far, unless anybody else has any additional questions. But Morgan, I just wanted to quickly thank you. This was awesome. It was an awesome tour of the software. I look forward to the roadmap and the different things upcoming of what we can add into this platform. And we look forward to talking to everybody soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everybody.